Okay. I just want to go back to and touch on a couple of just general points about the program, and we'll spend the rest of the afternoon working on leader skills. One of the things that you'll notice is different about the COPE program is the role of a leader in a large group workshop type parenting format. And here the leader is in the role of a facilitator. And so you'll notice that when we were interacting and participants would suggest a strategy, the leader often uses a neutral or a questioning tone of voice. So parents might suggest, for example, well, you could tell your son when he gets his room cleaned up, then he can do his homework. When he gets his room cleaned up, then he can get on the internet. Be a better example. Parent's example. And the leader will often use a questioning tone and say, so when your room's cleaned up, then you can get on the internet. And the group will think about that and decide that's something they agree with, and they'll nod. And we'll encourage the group then to explore the rationales with that by asking attributional question. What's the lesson that might teach? What's the message that would communicate? Supposing that was used over time by parents, what would be the longer term impact of using that strategy? So we want the parents to make a decision about strategies, and we want the group to develop the rationales. So the leader is in the position of a facilitator as opposed to a lecturer or providing more didactic instructions. And the leader, whenever possible, encourages the group to do problem solving, to think through situations, to think about some of the options that are available, to think about the advantages and disadvantages of those. We often ask parents, how many other parents have had this kind of an experience, to get a sense of the extent to which something is a shared experience. If parents suggest a strategy, we ask, what do others think about that? Is that something that you would agree with? And the position of a COPE leader is not one where you're going to be giving advice to parents. You're in a large group. You might have 15, 20, maybe as many as 25 parents. You do not have the individual level of information or the knowledge about their individual kids that would allow you to give specific advice to individual families. And you'll notice that the leader during subgroup discussions tried to stay out of subgroup discussions. So we want to encourage parents to talk about, for example, what went wrong on the tape and what the problems with that might be. And the leader monitors those discussions and listens carefully, but stays out of the actual discussion. So one of the distinctions about large group programs like COPE is the leader acts as a facilitator. I just want to comment on a strategy that I'd like to encourage you to practice this afternoon when you're working on leader skills, and that is summary modeling. And when parents suggest a strategy or maybe they describe the use of a strategy during homework exercises, we summarize that by modeling back the actual strategies. Try to use the tone of voice and gestures that you might use in talking to a child. And we use an optimal model. That is, we correct parent mistakes. So if a parent said, well, last week for homework I said to my son, if you don't get your homework done, then you won't be able to go on the internet tonight. And the leader might correct that by saying, when you get your homework done, then you can get on the internet. And so summary modeling is an opportunity to present parents with a good example of the strategies that we use. And there are lots of opportunities during the course of the session to do summary modeling. Certainly during homework reviews is a good opportunity to use that strategy. During troubleshooting videos, modeling, brainstorming are all opportunities for the leader to model strategies from either this session or certainly from earlier sessions. And there were probably 25, 30, maybe even as many as 40 opportunities over the course of a session where you can model components of the strategies that parents are working on. And modeling is really probably one of the key strategies for communicating and teaching new skills. Okay. Now, one of the things I suggested that you have as a leader is an agenda on the wall. It helps with time management, so For example, 7 to 7:05 might be time for a brief social phase, a cup of coffee. Homework review might take place for between 7:05 and 7:20. Troubleshooting, modeling, brainstorming, practice, planning, homework. So that might be the typical outline of a 2-hour COPE session. And clearly you're going to pick up a little bit of time on some of those and lose a little bit of time on others. But it's helpful to have that up on the wall for parents so that they can help you out in terms of keeping the group on task. The structural members of the group will often be very helpful in keeping the group on task. And it's just helpful for you in terms of orienting yourself as to where in the session that you are.